Once upon a time, in a kingdom far, far away, there was a young and impressionable prince. One day, the prince got bored of his royal life and decided to sneak out of the palace and explore the kingdom. As he was strolling through the marketplace, he heard some beautiful music coming from a nearby shop. Curious, he entered the shop and saw a man sitting behind a counter playing a violin. The music was so beautiful that the prince stood there mesmerized for hours. When the music ended, the prince quickly composed himself and asked the shopkeeper, "What kind of magic is this? How can you create such beautiful music?" The shopkeeper smiled and said, "This is not magic, Your Highness. This is just a violin, and I'm just a humble violinist." The prince couldn't believe it. To him, the shopkeeper's talent sounded like magic. Then the prince walked a little further into the shop and saw a huge drum set in the corner. He had never seen a drum set before, and he had no idea how it worked. So he sat down on a stool and started banging on the drums as hard as he could. Of course, it didn't sound like music. It just sounded like a loud and annoying banging. The violinist heard the noise and rushed over to the drums to stop the prince from destroying the drums. But when he saw that it was just the prince, he stopped and asked, "Your Highness, why are you making so much noise?" The prince replied, "I want to learn music too. Why can't I make beautiful music like you?" The violinist looked at the prince and then at the drum set and said, "You may be the prince of the kingdom, but that doesn't mean you're good at everything. I have spent years learning music and practicing on my instrument. You can't just become a great musician overnight." The prince was upset, but he knew that the violinist was right. He got up from the stall and walked over to the counter and asked, "Then what instrument should I learn?" "I want to learn an instrument that makes beautiful music." The violinist thought for a moment and then said, "You should learn the flute. It's a very versatile instrument, and it's not too difficult to learn." So the prince bought a flute and went home to practice. He spent hours every day practicing his flute, but no matter how hard he tried, he could only make a very basic sound. Discouraged, he went back to the music shop to see the violinist. "I've been practicing my flute every day, but I can't make any beautiful music. What am I doing wrong?" The violinist listened to the prince's playing and then said, "You're trying too hard. Music is not about being perfect. It's about expressing yourself and having fun. If you want to make beautiful music, you need to relax and enjoy the process." The prince took a deep breath and tried again. This time he played much more softly, and the music actually sounded pretty. The violinist smiled and said, "That's much better. Now you're starting to get the hang of it." From that day on, the prince practiced his flute every day. He never became a great musician like the violinist, but he didn't care. He had learned something much more important. Everyone has different talents and abilities. We should respect that. Just because we're good at something doesn't mean we're good at everything. And just because someone else is better at something than we are, doesn't mean that they better than us. The moral of the story is to respect others who are good at something different than you are. And don't be discouraged if you're not good at everything. Everyone has their own unique talents and abilities, and that's what makes each of us special. If you like this story, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Thanks for watching. See you next time.